Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, July 2, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We all of us have spiritual light inside us. It is on from the moment we enter these bodies at birth, and it will remain shining throughout our lives. Whatever we want to do or wish to manifest, this guiding divine presence will show us how to get there in the most effortlessly and enjoyable way. This great light, however, is often clouded and colored by intense conditioning from our past, resulting in challenging thought patterns of the mind. The mind regurgitates these illusionary or illusory limitations on this life, projecting what it thinks is real, true, or possible. Every day the mind creates a new problem to find solutions for, as it always needs new challenges to overcome. The moment we stop paying attention to the mind and fixate on this great light of pure awareness behind the mind, a deeper, richer spiritual experience of life begins to emerge in our daily activities. It's quite miraculous. We can watch all of our problems disappear in the same moment that we start seeing and feeling life through this spiritual lens. Ordinary chores suddenly become interesting and enjoyable as we watch our typical inner challenges turn into opportunities for growth. All fear leaves the body when the spiritual light of awareness is more important than the mind. We realize how everything in the universe is perfect as it is because we can see and feel a loving, powerful, divine God source within us and all beings. Waking up requires the deepest letting go of every idea you believe yourself to be. What's wonderful is that nothing in our lives has to dramatically change to awaken this spiritual light within. We don't have to eat the perfect diet, do daily yoga exercises, or acquire some super holy mindset to realize there is an infinite source of spiritual energy within. The realization of our spiritual nature is natural and always available here, now. We just tweak our perception a bit and it shines through. When we can see all day long that I am not my mind, I am pure awareness watching the mind, then the big shift happens. We simply need to realize where the movie of life is coming from. Its source is the light inside the projector at the back of the cinema hall, and not from the big wide screen. Yet most of us are deeply entertained by the moving pictures dancing on the screen and don't take the time to turn around to turn within. Yet the moment you really stop looking at the movie screen and turn 180 degrees around to view the light radiating from the projector, you'll liberate yourself from the movie. Looking into the light of awareness, we discover this very common, ordinary thing is radiating with eternal, effervescent, divine energy. Brightest, most healing spiritual light in this universe is right here, always inside you. It's like the sun. It never shuts off. It's always shining through consciousness, looking through our eyes, listening through our eyes. Even while we are in bed, deeply asleep. You can spend a lifetime trying to be one with the Great Spirit, or simply focus on love and realize you already are. It's not obvious in the beginning that this awareness is spiritual, as the mind has covered it up with all sorts of beliefs and desires. Yet the very moment we stop following thoughts and return to the source of where these thoughts are coming from, we begin our spiritual journey of coming home. If you right now simply place your attention on your heart and hold it there for a few minutes, you will naturally connect with your spiritual essence. The kingdom of God is inside us, and it's much more amazing than your mind can imagine. The moment the mind is completely silent and still, we naturally relax in our hearts and feel this deep spiritual connection. It's amazing. It feels like the biggest relief we could ever have. The 10,000 heavy ideas our ego had about ourselves immediately fall away as we are blinded by our own precious, infinite spiritual light energy. We can become transfixed on the immensity of our greatness in a few minutes. And this is all discovered by simply losing interest in our thoughts, focusing instead on the light of awareness and relaxing into the space of our heart. We will feel the deepest peace in creation when we lightly touch this infinite source, when we access our soul's natural connection with it. Everything in our life begins to open up and relax. We know that we cannot fall or fail at anything in this life. When we feel connected to our spiritual source, it is the most amazing and natural feeling in existence. Whatever we focus on grows. When we are 100% committed to exploring the spiritual light of awareness, it will increase. It will increase in power, radiate even brighter within us. It may start as a subtle feeling of being generally happier in life. Yet with hours of practice, it will morph into something much bigger and much more beautiful. Within a few months of conscious inner exploratory inquiry and investigation, the light inside you, we will feel more magnificent than the brightest sun. The awareness of our spiritual nature is always an opportunity for investigation and exploration, no matter where we are or who we are with. Nobody has to know you are on a spiritual adventure while you're at some board meeting. The opportunity for enlightenment is always here, now, in this very moment. We are meant to discover a more intimate connection with this universe. When we take on this spiritual exploration, we discover that we naturally become free from our ego's fears, doubts, and insecurities. We become grounded in the love inside our hearts and realize that we are not powerless, mortal beings, yet all-powerful divine beings. We discover the divine God source is our deepest, innermost nature, and this is all found within the exploration of our spiritual connection. We were taught that God is out there, up there, when in reality, God is here now, within each and every one of us. We don't have to miss out on the experience of this amazing God source connection because we're in the habit of paying more attention to the thoughts in our heads instead of the light of pure awareness. Right now, just imagine that there is a golden light, like a candle flame burning brightly inside your heart. Notice how this small light naturally radiates all around the body, keeping you safe from any negativity. Nothing else is needed. You have this light within you now. Practice this simple exercise all day long and notice what happens. If you'd like to dive deeper into the experience, allow your breath to slow down for a few minutes, and you'll notice something begin to shift. While you are focusing on the light in your heart, slow down your breathing to like 10 to 12 seconds for each intake and 10 to 12 seconds for exhale. You don't have to count. Just breathe very slowly and deeply. In the pause between breaths, relax and surrender deeper into the heart space. Practice this slow breathing technique for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Allow yourself this experience of falling eternally into the light that is at the very center of your heart. After these 3 minutes of slow breathing are finished, return to your natural breathing and observe the eternal in and outflow of the breath. Notice how your breath is breathing you. Life is taking care of you. You don't have to do anything. The more you can relax in this experience, you'll notice how you are supported by life, and everything will feel more peaceful. Gaze at your own real nature. It is immaterial whether the eyes are open or closed. Everything there is, and everywhere there is, only the one. So it is all the same whether you keep your eyes open or closed. Ramon Mauricio. Whenever distracting thoughts arise during this practice, you can bring your awareness back to what it is aware of thought. Explore this as often as you can throughout the day and try to relax deeper into your heart space. The moment you notice the mind becoming hijacked by fearful or negative thoughts, gently direct it back to the infinite source where your thoughts are coming from. Focus on the light from the projector instead of the movie, and you will learn how to redirect and produce a spiritually empowering, entertaining movie. Keep exploring this process for as long as your ego can tolerate it. It will try to resist and make up excuses and attempt to forget about it. Just know that this is how you remain asleep at the wheel. Don't let it. Within 5 to 10 minutes of meditating on the light within you, you can discover the most natural, peaceful, calming feeling taking over the entire body. One shift in perception is enough to quickly change how spiritually connected we feel inside. Don't seek, don't search, don't ask, don't knock, don't demand. Relax. If you relax, it comes. If you relax, it is there. If you relax, you start vibrating with it. Osho. Every moment in this life that we can remember our brilliant light of awareness is on. It's like climbing another rung on the spiritual ladder to freedom. We are less likely to allow our ego-driven minds to take us hostage. We can have compassion for ourselves and be okay that the ego is programmed to achieve things that it believes will make it fulfilled and happy. Normally, it thinks, once I have what I want, then I will be free. This is just the basic nature of the ego. Yet you don't have to buy into its story. You do not have to get lost in the movie and believe the movie is the reality, when it's not by far. When the light of awareness is the main priority in this life, we have more space inside ourselves to feel into ourselves and start asking deeper questions like, why am I here? What's the most enlightened thing I can do with my time? What can I do today to help others and fulfill my mission? We suddenly realize that we are feeling our spiritual connection because we've suddenly stopped complaining and have let go of the demands of our ego so that we have time to appreciate what is. The singer exists only in singing. The walker exists only in walking. So is the ego. The ego exists only in clinging, in possessing things, and in dominating things. When there is no domination, no desire to dominate, no desire to cling, no desire to possess, the ego starts evaporating. There is no higher authority in your life than you. And it's a difficult, it is challenging for us because we have a propensity to stay in the ego mind because it's what we're used to. Many of us on this planet don't even think of the spirituality side, the spirit side. We're caught up in the ego mind and all that comes with it, all the pain and suffering, disappointment, distraction, anger, fear, worry. And you would believe that, you would think that if you know that, if you're aware of that, then why not ignore the ego? Why not switch it to the God light within you? I mean, there's a lot of motivation there, isn't there? We end pain and suffering for ourselves. We end fear, worry, stress, anxiety. Or maybe it's because many of us like that we like the pain and suffering, the fear, that we're fearful. What are we going to do when we don't have it? If we don't have it, what are we going to do? Well, first you'll be embraced by the God that you are. And you will learn how to connect with that God that you are in that body permanently. Have you ever been in a position where you actually feel that you're not real? Or that everything around you is not real? You've been in that state of mind? Where you say something's created this isn't real. But for you it is. Might not be for someone else. See, it's the spiritual path. And believe it or not, we're all on that path. It's just that many don't know that they are. In anything in this life. Do you feel that you're part of it, or do you feel you're separate from it? Whatever it is. Do you feel you're part of it, or do you feel you're separate from it? See, it's because of our pre-programming from the society, the human psyche, we believe so wackily in directions that are fabricated by the ego mind. But most of us, many of us, we don't know how to differentiate between the physical, material, and the spiritual. Many people think spiritual is church, is religion. There's nowhere near that. Religion is man-made. Spirituality is God-made. Big difference. So how do we... The awareness on the planet is not major. It's very minor. But those of us who are aware to a certain extent, how do we move all the way into the godlight, the spiritual essence? We keep doing what we've been doing when we find ourselves in the embrace of the God that we are. And you notice that through any generation, right, any century, any millennia, we all pretty much follow the same thing. Material, physical world. Which through illusion keeps us separated from who and what we truly are. So in most cases, most of us go through life being run by the ego mind. And you have this, every one of us have this massive power that we don't know. See, we don't know we have it. We think it might be there, some of us. Others just dismiss it as hoopla. But we're focusing here, focusing there, focusing here, focusing there, see? And we don't realize how powerful we are, so it's kind of like out of control. It's not directed. It's directed, but it's unconscious direction. And so we manifest these things, whatever they may be, a fender bender in the parking lot. Okay. And the dangerous part of it is that when we focus on the lower frequencies, the negative, anger, frustration, we manifest those. Remember, manifesting is taking energy, pure energy, which is everywhere, moving it into form, bringing it into reality, because remember, the gods we are supreme reality, and experiencing it. But that's basically what it is. The universe is there, and it compiles everything, and it delivers things, maybe things that are better than what you had asked for. Now, unbeknownst to you, you send out to the universe what it is specifically that you are asking for, that you want. And you don't know how it's going to materialize. But the universe is definitely engaged. So you focus on that. You send that. It's going to come to you, for you. For instance, let's just say that one of us, or maybe a little few more, actually come to the total discovery that you are the God in the body. There's no ifs, ands, buts. There's total trust, faith, and confidence that you are God in the body. And then you realize what God is. God is pure consciousness, pure love. What it is. And some of us label it differently and put different names on it, but all in all, it's the same. It's the God force, love, light, energy that vibrates in harmonics in our hearts. And when you dive in and you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you discover and relax and let go, that this is part of the design. Now we are fortunate, the people on the planet now, and I know that might sound strange, but we are fortunate because we've experienced, and we're still in the body, and we have experienced pain, sorrow, disappointment, rejection, worry, stress, fear, hatred, anger. I mean, we've experienced a lot. Now we know what those are. We know that we can either move in lower frequency or higher. It's up to us. And by living in a higher frequency and existing in higher frequency, you're definitely, from the heart-mind, completely grateful for the exact moment in time you're in. And it sounds strange to a lot of people because, you mean I'm supposed to be grateful? You're not supposed to be. You choose. And and I've got this stomach bug, and I feel horrible, and I choose to be grateful for that. Yeah, because you're in the body. That's a big deal. So everything. Somebody says, well, they have cancer, and they're supposed to be grateful for that? Yes. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't it? You're in the body. You're actually experiencing something that you normally wouldn't be able to experience outside the body. You wouldn't be able to. And since you know that you're temporary, that body's temporary, what's the worry? That you're going to leave the body and you're immortal anyway, that you never die? It'll be an expanse, a shift for all of us to understand and comprehend who and what we truly really are. It's almost like we've got to flip over. We've got to flip it. We've got to do a literally an about face and walk the other way and embrace the God while you walk the other way. You're not going to be disappointed, guilty, distressed that you walked away from the ego mind. It might be difficult or confusing to people when I say that you leave the mind alone. Leave the mind alone of all of its character and personality and its slickness and its stress and worry and fear and insecurity, because when it wants something, it wants it. When it doesn't get it, it throws a tantrum. We all know that because we've lived it. Not just this lifetime, but many. Now, there's two ways you experience something, right? Now, you could go ego mind, or you can go heart mind, the God light within the heart. Two huge different directions. God mind, it melts away. And when you're getting ready to go to sleep, and before you wake up in the morning, when you start feeling all these thoughts like overload come rushing in, right? Just flooding, thousands of them, you immediately focus on the breath and go into the now. And before you know it, you're sound asleep when you lay your head on the pillow at night. Now, in the morning, it's the same thing. This flood will just absolutely, you can see it coming, feel it coming. And every one of us, none of us are exempt from it, it hits us. And then we're in mind chatter. But you can literally turn it off by foot, and this isn't running from it. It's really not caring to engage it. So it disappears. This is when we talk about mastering the ego mind. This is a practice that many of the philosophers years ago would practice this. When you go to sleep, well, let's just say when you're starting to go to sleep, you focus on the now. You focus on your breath. All you do is focus on the breath. You'll be in the now. All that stuff, all that noise and chatter from the ego mind disappears. All the worry, stress, and fear disappears. And the more you practice this, at your own choosing, the deeper and deeper you go within to meet the God that you are. That's humongous. There are a lot of people that say to me, they go to bed and they're going to go to sleep, right? They might take something because they convince themselves they have a hard time sleeping. But they have difficulty, and they're being flooded and constantly pulverized with the ego mind thoughts, and which is basically all of other people's thoughts before you through thousands of years, all here. They're all here. And this is why many of us are flooded with these thoughts that we believe are ours, and they're not. Do you believe it's easier to take one of those thoughts, like a passing cloud, and you reach up and you grab it and you pull it in, open it up, and you embrace that thought as your own? Well, that's when you worry, stress, and fear. But instead, the other course of action is to do nothing, to allow it to float on by. And believe me, there's thousands of them. You can look at them like clouds in the sky, and they're just floating by. And you go, oh, no, that's not interested in that. That's not my thought. That's an ego mind thought. And then in the meantime, you decide to send your thought out to the universe. And what's that about? Well, you send your thought out to the universe, and the universe begins to manifest it for you. I don't believe any of us at this stage, right, of our existence, or otherwise in this life, that we've come far enough to know, at least, we don't care to be in the ego mind. Not that the ego mind hasn't been wonderful and has helped us in many ways, but we, and you can feel it on this planet, that we're gravitating more towards spirituality, the gods that we are in these bodies. Practice, and then we begin to interact with the gods that we are. And we begin a very intimate relationship with the gods that we are. So we're expanding and progressing with the gods that we are within through the heart. And we've literally left the mind and ego alone. So there's many different avenues that you could look at, that you could step over here, step over there. But see, we know. All those who listen, participate in these meditations, they know. And they're gravitating more and more towards the God within them. And they're starting to discover is that when I decide to go with the God that I am within this body, the light through the heart, all of this stuff disappears. It's not a joke. It's not a magic. It disappears. All the things that hang on us and weigh us down, they disappear. When you have these thoughts come in, do you know are not yours, even though they're really designed to make you think they are yours, and you know they're not. So you just leave them alone, let them pass by. But you slowly but surely begin to understand is that my journey is not outside of me. It's within. Because you've had enough of the journey of the material physical world. And then we move pragmatically forward. Some of us a little bit at a time. Others will take leaps. But however you enter, the more you do, the more you will want to do by being within. It doesn't make us sages and gurus and all the stuff from the old earth. It gives us an opening to totally be free. Completely. Free from pain and suffering, anxiety and stress and anger and hatred, all of it. Free from it. And then you exist in a sheer, blissful state. And when you see you've seen the Maitreya, the fat Buddha, right? Who's got the bag of gold ingots and he's fat and he's joyous. He's got the big belly and he's laughing and he's basically this bliss with the God that you are. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's ridiculous. Enjoy the life. Because believe you me, when you're not in physical form, it really is a whole different ballgame. It is nothing. Being as balls of light, pure, deep, eternal love, pure consciousness, and God essence. But we can't see we can't feel, we can't touch, we aren't able to taste. laugh, cry, go swimming, go into nature, all the things that we take for granted. And we do take a lot for granted. And I think we've all experienced the fact that we have something, we enjoy it, and it's been with us for a long time, and we just kind of ho-hum, take it for granted, and then it's gone. Big time, big difference. And then what happens? Then you move more into gratitude and thankfulness and appreciation. That's why we look at being deeply grateful for everything, all of it. All of it means, the not so good, the good, and the bad. But to be deeply grateful. You get a flat tire, your car you pull over to the side, you're in the middle of nowhere. Instead of being frightened and stressed and angry, you're the opposite. You're in bliss, you're in gratitude, you're in appreciation. This is how the God opens up. Power of the God that we are opens up. The manifesting opens up. So it's like effortless. Somehow, somewhere, someone comes along and you're able to get your tire fixed and get on your way. But if you're in the opposite response to that, that won't happen in most cases. And you'll just get more and more frustrated and angry and upset and fearful that you're going to be stranded out there forever. And this has happened to people. Because we're the power. That's the crazy thing about it all. We're the ones, every one of us, that create these situations, create these adventures that we experience. And the noise chatter is other people's thoughts coming in, just flooding us non-stop. So you say, I'm going to be more mindful of my thoughts, because whatever thought I put out, the universe is going to start manifesting it. Whatever I focus on for any length of period of time, the universe is going to send it to you. So if you're in a hate mood, an anger mood, a revenge mood for a long time, like a lot of people, you're carrying that baggage, and it keeps coming up and coming up and coming up about someone that wronged you, or, someone that hurt you, something, and you go and you carry it and you drag it and you carry it and drag it and drag it and drag it. This is what I'm talking about, to let go of these things. Let go of this life. Most of us are just gripping onto this life. Katie barred the door tooth and nail to not let go of it. We're not letting go of anything. We're just letting things flow. And we're not fighting the current, and we're just floating. The current's taking us. And the more we begin to understand that you are the power, you always have been. Nothing outside of you is really the power. You are. You change things for you and other people, because you make the decision. I really enjoy being in the mind, and so they stay in the mind. Others say, I really enjoy being in the heart, so they stay in the heart. You can tell the difference. And the ones in the ego will finally pick up on the fact that I don't really care to be in the ego mind anymore. Too exhausting. And then you're seeing that switch happen on this planet. We are all omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die. We are absolute reality. The gods that we are, that's the only thing that's real. It's the only thing that doesn't change. Everything outside of us changes. and it's not real. Nothing outside of you is real. It is fabricated and engineered by the ego mind. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out the mouth. Remain still. Everything is perfect just as it is. There are no accidents or coincidences. Nothing is by chance. Everything you experience is a direct manifestation of where you are placing your attention. So the big question today is, what do you most want to be focusing on? What makes your heart sing the loudest? Today you have time to take a look at this question and answer it. This is the most important thing you could possibly focus on today. True power in this life comes from knowing yourself intimately and being completely at ease with whatever you find. Enjoy this exquisite journey within. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and following morning. We will return here Monday, July 3rd, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest eternal gratitude for all things, no matter what's going on around you.